of women, because women have had to be a lot of things, right? Their flesh and blood has been taken for everything worth doing in the human race. It is the flesh and blood bonds of true love. It is the flesh and blood of truth. It is the flesh and blood of the earth. It is the flesh and blood of any peace that should ever be sounded forth and has ever been sounded forth, and from whose great soundings and all that is truly past and all that is the best of the future, we take our own existence and everything, and the air we breathe and the food we eat. That's how powerful female energy is. It is worthy of being called a god, but it is nothing like God. And so it's not a worthy name for them to bear. Their power, rather, is aped by God and used against people. That sets up disadvantageous and unconscious dynamics between various genders over generations, producing an enormous amount of harm. It positions the gender like the night and day, and take the two for the instance, as ones whose very identity and apotheosis, and therefore whose birth and purpose, lay in the mutual annihilation of each other. That is Kabbalistic Gnosticism in every movie, all literature, all music for the last 1,000 years, all art, all culture. That's what rules the world. That's the binary code for 1,000 years of human control. Okay? And I'm a witch, I'm a satanic witch, I'm a druid of the old ways. Right? And we can sense this. Every time you live in the world, you figure it out. What's wrong? And it creates schizoids who have to put on costumes and play roles and essentially work against themselves in order to survive. That's the schizoid comment. Right? Okay, I've been pretty serious today. So. Yeah, well, my mood started off pretty good. So what else do I want to talk about? So that's that. I still have, difficulties with women. It's not like any of this really preserves me against the indiscretions of the female race, but it gives a context so that I can protect myself. Not to get angry with anybody, but women hurt men, disintegration. I took my household as mine at all, free to call mine, and I turned it from an island place, finally, having to spend time growing up in a house with parents and siblings, having had enough time not quite alone with my mother for years and years and years and years. She's finally settled down, and she doesn't hurt me anymore. And it took, well, about 30 years. I've lived with my mother about 20 years of my adult life, between the ages of, say, 25 and 45. So that would be 15 years. Okay, so yeah, I've probably lived with her for about 10 to 15 years of my adult life. And the last 3 or 4 years. And a lot, in other words. In fact, the best times of my life I probably lived with my mom. And the worst. I told her many years ago, Mom, when things are going well, it's heaven. When it's not, it's hell. And I learned to get some leverage, to say the right words or cast the right spells. And now and then certain things visit the household, but it's become less. Things are kind of working for us now, more than against us. If you get that alcohol out of the house, it changes everything, right? But there's no known cure for alcoholism. Right? You know what? After years and years of ceremony, you know what did it? My mom's second COVID vaccine removed her taste for alcohol. Right? Made her allergic to it. Now, vaccines aren't good, but I thought to myself, thanks to use any evil to help us. Evil is like energy that's out of place. You have to find a use for it. If there's evil running the world, and making good use of its energy, and we're making use of that, and we don't complain, then it's going to stay the same, right? Right? Or you have to put it to a different use, right? Or even just academically speaking, like say royalty do control the world. How could you put them to better use? How could you put TV stars to better use? You notice they're all pretty ugly people, right? They are. They're ugly through and through, but they're great actors. They've had advanced surgical alteration, the most advanced prosthetics, biometrics, and CGI, helping you see them a certain way in various narratives, which they give their, not their full selves, but their alias to. You give yourself to the roles you play. The royalty give an alias. They give something they can afford to lose. So when their aliases die, they're not really dead. When you die, you are dead. Just like in a movie, when a character dies, he's not really dead. He's not really dead. Doesn't that fuck with you? Because they're only giving their alias to death, either in the show or in real life. They're not giving themselves. You know? That's why SAG Corporation always, you're told they always give them. You're bound to figure out that's not their real name. And indeed, whatever name they had before, that's probably not their real name, right? Did you know that no president of the United States has ever used their real name, ever? Right? They're members of SAG, the Screen Actors Guild. Ronald Reagan isn't the only actor in the White House. There are some actors who have office in one capacity or another for a quarter of a century, right? Because they use different aliases. And you're, don't worry. So don't feel like you have to trouble yourself to object to it, or even to think about it at all. Your consent is a sin. It should be enjoyable by now. Much preferred by you and those around you. People say politicians are all liars, and they are, but so is everybody else. White people are all, unfortunately. That guy Jay is really nice, but every time I meet him, he's always laughing. And it's nice, it's disarming and whatnot, but yeah, he's always laughing. He's always laughing. I didn't have asked him where he lived again. I just thought it was really interesting because I don't tell him where I live. I just thought it's just a nice area. That's why I asked him. But it's like, cool. Like, he's local. It's not, I'm not meaning to run him down. It's like, he's local. He lives near the park. Of all the people that live near the park, I know. And so he's local. He's indigenous to this place. This is his backyard, right? So asking where he lives is more like a respect thing for me. It's like, oh, cool, man. I want your name, like, know where you live. Because that's a cool area. I feel very positively about it. It seems like you bring a lot of positive energy to that place. And I'm interested in that area, so it's cool. I like that he said he lives outside the trailer park. And speech with him. I won't ask him that again. I don't think that's a little rude. But he's always laughing nervously. And this is maybe he's gay. I knew a gay guy that used to laugh all the time. But I supplied him information. I said, oh, I'm going to the mud banks. I've been here for a few days. Close to my mom. That's it. So I'm giving personal information. I don't like to really say my living situation to people because, for anybody really, not just him. I try to be as private as I can because I get energy directed at me. So he's a positive guy. So he's not going to bring negative energy upon me at this point. But my home does get its bombardments. So if I wake up a bit angry, it's like, oh, somebody's pissed. Well, you have a reason to be pissed. Some people have 25 million reasons to be pissed. Yeah, this is nice. Body's good tempo. Things are melting nicely. Still slippery. That's fine. Let's see if I have my second now. That's good. Might get a third. Oh. He's a wonderful, healthy dog. Really respect someone to keep a dog like that happy and healthy. It's good. Certainly don't need a lot of marijuana. Keep going. Border Collie Lucy J, like Smoky J. His name is still right on my head. I'll probably see him like once every 6 months. Oh, let's sit down for a second. I'm tired. Yeah. Chicka baby. Boom, chicka baby. Ooh. Weird sounds. Ooh, ooh, la, 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 la. My love, my dear, dear love. Yeah. My love, my dear, dear love. My love, my dear, dear love. Yeah. Oh, get my pants up properly. My love, my dear, dear love. Yeah. My love, my dear, dear love. Yeah. My love, my dear, dear love. Yeah. My love, my dear, dear love. So I got some pretty trying times, I think, but energy. I like to say it's over, but bad, feeling with bad human energy. It's cancerous. But what I sense is that I've made my boundaries so well at this point that it strengthened me for the long haul, for the rest of my life. You know? Using opportunities to learn to make boundaries with energy, organizations of people who, whether you like it or not, for some of us, an organization of people can, by and large, be deadly to us. And we take it with deadly significance, what others would think as completely insignificant, and be able to say, I don't really know why you're getting bothered at all, much less as much as you are. For some of us, an environment can kill in a way that for 99.9% of the rest of the population, they don't care whether it's killing them or not, because they don't feel things. They don't want to listen to someone who can say, hey, you know, this place most of all doesn't feel good. Have you noticed anything really weird? Because it'll affect people's behavior. Then you'll think, wow, those people who are in the store must have a bad attitude, because we understand that a bad attitude could lead to various different artifacts or effects. Well, a bad energy like a bad attitude or any kind of mentality, shared though it may be, by a peculiar demographic, and a substantial demographic of, say, white people or men and women in a certain region, can produce a range of very problematic behavior if you're paying attention and or you're prone to notice such things, and they are a suspicious order, persuasive command of a range of seemingly natural human compulsions. The area of study and group-mindedness affect human behavior and how us is bound to perceive it, if at all. It's a very extraordinary range. It's not really parapsychology, certainly abnormal psychology, cult psychology, but also well in the proper health and preserving people from all kinds of physical effects that can start mental and emotional observations of any given group environment, whether it's where you go shopping, or where you live, or different neighborhoods around you, different parts of your family, different people you've known, parts of your life, places you were, who was around you, what happened, what did one of them do, what did all of them do, what did any of them do, what did they do to other people, what did they do? My love, my dear, dear love. Yeah. When I very first time my videos, at least in this part of my life, I made them when I was pretty young too. The big old ass cameras used to. I worked one summer on a raspberry farm to buy. I shed tears into that fucking open tract of land that my grandpa had pulled years and years of food for his family out of. I couldn't pull a single fucking thing out of it, and I just felt completely ashamed of myself. But that's all right. I just wasn't that part of my grandpa. I was another part of my grandpa, and I noticed my mom has a love of words. My grandpa actually had a secret love of language. And I like to say to my grandpa, I've explored that in my life. And also finding out why my grandpa got cancer is a part of my love of words, because you tend to find in ways I couldn't have predicted that problems in the world that lead to mortification are things that don't have the right names and words when people's voices are not being heard. Because lo and behold, whenever there's a lot of pain, even when there isn't, human beings have learned or never stumbled upon learning how to put it into words. And so abnormal psychology is such an important subject to me, because it's also about helping people have words for things that are every bit as violent as an axe murderer, but they get to exist. COVID gets to exist. We have a name for COVID. We don't have a name for the shit that really makes people sick from each other. And we're not looking here to lynch anybody. And that's part of the caution. You're not going to advance your knowledge of abnormal psychology if you're looking to, hurt women or hurt men and hurt black people, hurt police officers, hurt Jewish people. And I understand the boundaries set up in life, and in a strange sort of way, whether you believe this or not, because there are certain people who probably need that protection more than others. because their particular section of human existence, or mine or yours, could be seen at some point as we make the rounds of judgment on the earth to be looking like we should just fucking call you. Humans don't look good when you see it, what they do, but understand that everyone doing something to someone else is part of a system sucking the life out of all of us. So don't, when you're studying the worst of people, just try to leave moral agency out of it. When you study the police, leave moral agency. Then you can kind of say, okay, this is what they're trained to do. This is what they are doing. This is how I feel about it today. This is how these people feel about it. Da, 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 da. We could look at it this way. We could look at it that way. This is what they have to do. Understand, for instance, that the police, in interacting with anyone, have to speak a special language where they have a prerogative not to tell you whatever the fuck they don't want to tell you for their own fucking reasons. And that makes them seem deceptive, because it is deceptive. It's lying, right? In a normal, legitimate, sort of lay person, civilian sort of way. But thankfully, they've taken away from you any urgency that you might suffer to indulge, to get mad at them about it, because they're police officers. So you just shut up and let them do their job. And that's what they expect from you. And that's part of... So anyone that does a job, for instance, like teachers or police, where essentially you have to do their job as well. Right? Okay. For a salesman to sell you something, they have to get you to sell yourself on it. For a cult leader to sell you on something, they have to get you to sell yourself on it. Right? So anything that the world do, they've got you to deceive yourself. My interest isn't hurting the police, although I'd like to bury all of them one day, just like anyone else, but don't worry, nature will take its course. Because they hurt a lot of people. It's a cult. But at the same time, they should be protected. We start lynching everyone who's hurting people, it's not going to be nice for anyone. And don't have it in me, quite frankly. And I think everyone should be protected. The worst scrutiny that we could project at them. Asking them to change. We want to educate each other about things that we can only change in ourselves. But it's important to look critically at what the police do, because with them. Right, you have to do their job for them. You to do their job for them. It's a very peculiar profession. Same thing with therapy. Same thing with politics, A great politician would say, if you want to change this nation, you've all got to do your part. They don't do anything. They just read the speeches. Remember, you and every swinging dick, whatever costume it's wearing today, world with the essence that it needs to survive. At every social rank. Your baby you, baby John, baby Jonah, baby Jay, baby Lori, Lou, and Lucky, and Lonesome, every baby one of you supplied the world when you made it out of your mother's womb with everything that it wants. And a degenerate proxy of that was converted into $50 billion of debt. Or a debenture. And indentured you to an existence, not just a lifetime, but billions of years of human evolution of servitude to every financial and scientific narrative which came to bear upon answering the questions of who you are and what you should do and why you should do what you're told to do and why, if you want to be a little bit better and healthier, you should do what only these kinds of people tell you. Because let's face it, you can only think so much for yourself. Okay? And that's your world. Okay? Now, if you don't like that world, join the world. Nobody likes it. I'm not saying anything new. And it's that part of people that don't like it that join cults or listen to me, right? Fuck, I'm tired of I've tried all this and I fucking hate it. And then someone comes along, hey, are you tired of trying all these diets and cults and philosophies and items and things you do and think and feel and say and worship that don't fucking work? Well, I've got a pill. Robin Williams said this. It's called Fuck It All. Just take fuck it all. Or, I've got a cult called the Sunshine Family. We try to just bring sunshine into the world because sunshine is the absolute reality of all words, thoughts, signals, systems, and societies that deserve to continue existing. And those that can't handle the Sunshine Gang should just die. It's really easy to start a cult, because they're all based on death. Everything in white is on death. Every single cult in the world is based on dying and death. Isn't that comforting? Now, my grandpa, part of he died is because he was a Christian and he worshipped a cult of death. I don't think most men who die wanted to or should have. But think of death like an extended trip to heaven. You say, there's heaven. I don't know. You're an honest person. I don't know where heaven is. I can't. Even if I did, I couldn't do anything. If I knew where heaven was, I could make $1 billion, right? Hey, come to heaven. Give me $1 million in heaven, and you don't have to die. And even if you do, you're not going to care because everything's going to be. Just follow me. Now, I don't really know, but I think if we start with this little seed of faith, and then you invest that faith in me, and I believe apathetically that you will in the future give me such a faith, then indeed, and if you're worthy of it, then I should be able to discover the path to heaven. And along the way, if you want to give me enormous sums of money, that would be swell. Cult number 2. My mom would be like, what did you do today? I invented a couple cults within this 5 minutes. Oh, lovely. What else are you going to do? I'm going to try to find a girlfriend to land on my dick from an airplane overhead. I hope it'll be one day in the spring while I'm laying in a field and my erect penis is flopping around in the air. Bingo, bango, bongo, and I break her fall, come inside her, fertilize my children, 30,000 foot descent into a new life for everyone. I'll call my first child Descent. Perfect timing. Boy, that girl's vagina is going to have to be solid. Bam! I wonder how high a woman has actually jumped and landed on an erect penis. We should try that. Could be dangerous. Okay, ready, honey? We're going to get the world record. 13 feet. I'm ready for you. Shit. What? I think it went in your ass. Oh, yeah. Damn it, I hate it when that happens. Women start wearing things over their vagina to help guide the penis in from enormous heights. You get porn with women jumping like spiders off of buildings. Red carpets filled with gorgeous men with huge dicks. Got it. Which one did I get? Let's see. Lot 123-A. Simon Hinkler is a down and out ex-fireman who burnt down the fire hall and is an alcoholic. Great. What kind of man do you want to fertilize your tiny tot? What kind of man do you want to rub his hands over your breasts? Do you want him to handle them? Do you want him to touch you there? Do you wonder what color big hair? Look at his eyebrows. It's probably light brown. Like an autumn day. I don't really usually pubic hair. I wonder what would happen if women thought about their vaginas as much as men do. I bet you gynecologists are just men who just thinking about vaginas. Like, I just gotta learn more about them. You know, I've never really seen one. I'm gonna have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars till they get a real one in front of us. Now, man, I'd like you to remove the silk handkerchiefs to reveal your vagina. The test is 60 minutes. You're going to have to get her to come loudly. What do we do? Well, I've got these tongue depressors. You got your lab partner beside you. Some virgin geek, and then already like hopping, sticking his dick in. He's like, that will not be allowed, sir. He's an exchange student. It's like, okay, what do we do? Well, remember that episode of MacGyver where he has to get in? It's a test to see who's smart enough to get through a locked door. And then there's someone on the other side who designs some sort of interesting lock to see if smart enough to foil it. And then MacGyver figures out that the guy didn't actually do anything. You know, it's kind of like a mind fuck. Like the hardest door to open will be the one that isn't locked, you know? Let's apply that one. It's like, how do we apply that? I don't know. I'm a philosopher. I'm not a vagina fucker. What if we don't have to do anything? I mean, let's just blow on it. Wait, we pay someone who knows to do it for us. Hey, Jenny, a lesbian on the cross. You over here? Can you do this for us? Yeah, sure. She just flicks her hand out a few times and it's like, there you go. Wow. Can I get your number? Apparently women like men flicking their tongue over their clitoris, which is basically like their little penis. Right? It's like the inside of a couple little oyster shells that produce urine every now. Yeah, that doesn't sound that good to me. I look at women, I think, especially good looking, I think, do I want to stick my tongue in her vagina? No. No, not for all the world. Unless I've lost my keys in there, it's pretty much not going to happen. Now, if my keys are in there, I'll be like, honey, I told you not to put them in there. And it's the only way to get me to touch your vagina. Damn it. Where do you put them this time? Oh, you'll never guess. Not your asshole. Oh, you got me. Oh, sorry. I feel like I'm now. But I haven't talked about vaginas and penises for a long time. I feel like I should, just to include them in my world. I live with my mom. I don't have sex. I've